Every team has a player in their side who they feel is criminally underrated by the outside world. Defenders and holding midfielders are often prime suspects, as their good work tends to go unnoticed. There are so many players who could fall into the category of being underrated in the Premier League, but we've tried to narrow it down to just 7, who we feel really don't get the recognition they deserve. Here are our 7 most underrated players in the Premier League. Antonio Valencia. Ask any Manchester United fan who their most underrated player is, and they'll probably tell you either Ander Herrera or Antonio Valencia, and it's the latter who sneaks into our top 7. The former Wigan Athletic man who was brought to the Premier League by Steve Bruce is now in his 9th season with Manchester United. The Ecuadorian looked to be becoming a bit of a one-trick pony on the right wing a couple of years ago, and his future at Old Trafford looked to be in doubt. Now, the 32-year-old has converted beautifully into one of the best right-backs in the Premier League. Perhaps it's because Valencia has changed positions that he's so underrated, as some view him as a utility player, but the truth of the matter is, he's now a top-draw fullback in his own right. Ben Mee and James Tarkowski. Okay, so this is a bit of a cop-out. Sean Dyche's Burnley have made an excellent start to the Premier League this season, having stayed up last time out, and we couldn't choose between their 2 fantastic defenders, Ben Mee and James Tarkowski, so this had to be a double entry. Mee has been outstanding for some time at Turf Moor, having made more than 200 appearances for the club now, and was arguably just as impressive as £30 million man Michael Keane last season. Tarkowski made less of an impact last season, but has been nothing short of tremendous in the early stages of this campaign. Christian Eriksen. We know what you're thinking. Everyone knows Christian Eriksen is a very good footballer. But as with a couple in this 7, being regarded as a good player simply isn't enough for Christian Eriksen. The Great Dane made 15 Premier League assists for Tottenham last season, fewer only than Kevin De Bruyne, and he scored more goals than the Manchester City star. We hesitate to use the controversial world-class tag here at HITC Sevens, but Christian Eriksen is a player you could drop in any team in the world and he would look right at home. Whilst Dele Alli and Harry Kane are the ones constantly linked with moves to Spain's Big 2, Eriksen could just as easily play for one of the biggest clubs in the world, and amazingly, he's still only 25. Fernandinho. We mentioned in the introduction that defensive midfielders tend to be overlooked, and Fernandinho is a fine example of that. Whilst N'Golo Kante has picked up all the plaudits over the last 2 seasons, and praise has been rife for Nemanja Matic in the early parts of this season, Fernandinho is just as important for Man City as Kante and Matic are for their teams. He's been an absolute colossus in the early parts of this season at the Etihad, and you can guarantee the citizens wouldn't be sitting so pretty at the top of the Premier League table were it not for him. Son Heung-Min. The second Tottenham player in this 7, we believe Son Heung-Min is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League, and we have the stats to back it up. Despite playing just over 2,000 minutes of league football, which is roughly equivalent to 23 games, Son had the same number of combined goals and assists as Philippe Coutinho last season. But unlike the Liverpool man, Son wasn't linked with a £357 billion move to Barcelona all summer. Son scored 14 league goals and made 6 assists, being named man of the match 3 times. That's a phenomenal record for a player who was only really in and out of the Tottenham side. Cesar Azpilicueta. Only recently have people started to sit up and take note of just how important a player Cesar Azpilicueta is for Chelsea, despite him having been named the club's Players' Player of the Year back in 2014. Blues fans have known for some time now that the Spaniard is key to their success, but it seems to have taken far too long to seep into the wider footballing world. At £7 million, Chelsea had Marseille's pants down when they signed him in 2012, and he has to go down as one of the best signings in the club's recent history. He played every single minute of Premier League football for Chelsea last season, and you could make a case for him actually being the best defender in the whole division. Abdoulaye Doucouré. You probably weren't expecting Abdoulaye Doucouré to take top spot in this 7, unless of course you're a Watford fan. The former French youth international was signed by Watford from Rennes, and showed signs of how good he was in his 20 league appearances last season. At the start of this campaign though, he's been an absolute titan in the Hornets midfield, dominating games and looking like a player destined to play at the highest level. Watford fans will be hoping they can hang on to Doucouré for a couple of seasons at least, but when he does come to leave, they're likely to receive a hefty fee. So that's it for our top 7. There are so many players who missed out, so let us know your best shouts in the comments. Thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, feel free to check out some of the other videos on screen now, and don't forget to subscribe to HITC Sevens.